Okay, thank you very much, all of you, for joining in. This is the ICT Teachers Association of Uganda Performance Analysis. Good afternoon, dear ICT teachers, school leaders, and friends in education. We want to welcome you to our webinar that we are organizing as ITAU. And my name is Sewalam Eric Tom, one of the moderators today, but also happening to be serving as the National Publicity Secretary. Our topic is mainly looking at ICT performance in UCE 2025. We are looking at the problems, lessons, and what we can do next. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to begin with, of course, an opening prayer. An opening prayer that I'm going to request to come from, I'm seeing Stephen Nyekorach. Kindly feel free and give us an opening prayer. Meanwhile, we can be sharing the link. Yes, we can be sharing
yes,
the link.
let's pray. Let's pray. Almighty God the Father.
Mom.
Mr. Stephen, we can't hear you.
Yes, hello.
Okay, let's pray.
Can you hear me now?
Almighty God the Father, we call for your presence in this meeting that we are going to have, such that we get to understand whatever will be discussed. I pray all this in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. That was Mr. Stephen Nyekorach. Okay, to begin with, we intend not to spend a lot of time here. The overall ICT results, I may not be able to judge. I will not say they were very good. I will not say they were very bad, because this is an analysis where we are supposed to brainstorm, share ideas, and also come up with what we think is right on both sides. Almost 100% of the students qualify to get a certificate, but in ICT, we mainly have a number of challenges. So our main aim of interacting, especially on this forum, is to talk honestly about why, we learn from it, and then find real solutions to maybe next year and be able to make it better. As we all know, as the ICT Teachers Association fraternity, we understand that ICT should open doors for our children, closing them because the world is moving directly in that line. So I want to assume that I have all my panelists here. I have my president on call. I have Mr. Dumba Stephen, and a number of people that we are going to be interacting with. Dear teachers, completely control your phone and feel free to drop in a statement or question or concern in the chat, because we may not all get an opportunity to interact and talk, but let us move within that. So at this moment in time, I want you to allow me welcome opening remarks from our president of the ICT Teachers Association of Uganda, Mr. Luchams Ronald, and then we can be able to kick off officially. I want to remind whoever is on the call that this stream is directly on YouTube for people that are unable to access Zoom. And as I'm speaking now, I'm sharing in our ITAU national groups so that we can be able to share the link with other people. It is always good when we share ideas and we are all on the same page. Thank you very much. Mr. President, you are welcome.
Okay, thank you. I'm assuming my audio is okay.
Very okay.
First of all, thank you for the doing your work as the publicity secretary. I would like to start by giving my welcome remarks. As you know that the theme is analyzing ICT performance in UCE 2025. We are looking at the challenges, the insights, and the strategic interventions. I would like to welcome all the distinguished panelists and the respected education stakeholders around, fellow ICT professionals, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon to you all. To me, it is a very great honor and privilege to welcome you to this important panel discussion, which is centered on analyzing the performance. It is the first time we are meeting after release of results. But when you look at the recently released UCE 2025 results, they have prompted serious reflection within the ICT education fraternity. We have seen a lot of conversations taking place in the different WhatsApp groups. And the observation that many learners did not demonstrate several expected competencies calls upon us not to assign blame, but to engage in honest, evidence-based and solution-oriented dialogue. To me, ICT is not merely an examinable subject. This is a foundational discipline that equips learners with critical thinking, digital literacy, innovation skills, and problem-solving capacity, essential for national development. Therefore, the performance trends in ICT, I would request that they must be examined with depth, objectivity, and professional responsibility. So today's discussion brings together distinguished educators, coordinators, and even some assessment experts to collectively interrogate the issues before us. So what we should know, our goal is very clear. One is to critically analyze the competency gaps reflected in the UCE 2025. Two, we must also identify systematic and instructional or even learner-centered challenges. What happened really? Then at the end, we must come up or propose practical strategic intervention that will strengthen ICT teaching and learning across the country. We are not here to blame anyone. That's what we should know. We are here to discuss as professionals. We must approach this conversation with, by the way, with balance. Where there are gaps, we must acknowledge that, please, gaps do exist. And where there are some systematic constraints, we must also address them. And where there are successes, we must replicate those successes. And where reforms are needed, we shall advocate for them constructively. To me, this is not a moment of defensiveness, that it is the examining body, it is the facilitators, it is the leaders. It is a moment of reflection and a moment of leadership. I therefore encourage all panelists to provide candid, evidence-based insights and practical recommendations that will guide us towards sustainable improvement in competency acquisition and future examination performance. To me, on behalf of the ICT Teachers Association, I welcome you all and look forward to a rich and transformative discussion. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, our dear President, Mr. Luchamuzi Ronald. Somebody was talking about where we can record and all that. Kindly, the link is shared in the chat box. That is where we are. Now, to start with, we are having a very simple agenda because we don't intend to spend a lot of time. We've had the opening prayer and welcoming remarks. And next, we are going into the panel discussion. Our panelists are Mr. Kakulu Bernard, Mr. Dumba Stephen, Mr. Charles Oyem, Mr. Okolong Samuel, and Mr. Luchamuzi Ronald. Now, ideally, at the start of each and everything, I want to first of all have an introduction to our panelists who are around. And this is a strong panel that we trust so much. However, I also continue reminding everyone that your voice can only be heard through the chat. We believe that we are all ICT professionals, and maybe we may not be in position to unmute, especially if the introductions. I initially had the president communicating. I want to have an introduction. Yes, an introduction of yourself. Thank you very much.
Okay. I hope everybody can hear me well. The host can confirm.
Yes, please. You are very clear.
Okay. Thank you, members who joined the meeting and others who are still joining. My name is Charles Riem, one of the panelists. I'll be offering some insights on the gaps that we really need to know that led to all these issues people are talking about at assessment level for ICT. I'm going to be sharing my opinion and experience, and will give a recommendation that can be workable for people here in this 2026, so that we reach where really ICT should go. Because from our side, I think there are still a lot of gaps at school levels, at teaching levels and all that. So I request members to pay attention and really try to listen and be willing to change whatever you had before. The way President requested, that this is not time for blame, but take note of the key things and try your best to learn it really. Try to learn it and pass it on to the learners for the betterment of results. The ICT was not badly done. It is not badly done, but there's still a lot of improvement that we need to do for us to do it best. For now, I stop here.
Thank you very much, Mr. Oriem. Charles is one of our panelists. I request to hear from Mr. Kakul Bernard. I know you're on the call. Kindly unmute and give us opening remarks from yourself and introduction.
Am I loud and clear?
Very clear.
All right. Good evening, dear panelists. Good evening, fellow ICT teachers and all stakeholders on the call. Hopefully your afternoon is well. So as one of the facilitators, as one of the trainers, as one of the curriculum and subject specialist, I would like to share with you this afternoon as the time goes on. Kakur Bernard, again, as they have introduced me. So we shall continue to discuss more. I think that is the overview.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Kakuru. I am yet to confirm. Sometimes the names are anonymous. I want to confirm if we have Mr. Okolong Samuel. Yes, somebody can help me confirm. Hopefully he hasn't joined yet. Okay. Now I want to go into the panelists. We are going to have an open discussion later on, but I want to believe that we are all well aligned and very ready for the discussion. Now, I expect Mr. Dumba, I don't know if he's in position to talk to us as well. Mr. Dumba, can we hear from you?
Yes, I am. Am I clear?
Yes, you're clear.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Dumba Stephen. I serve as the National Coordinator of the ICT Teachers Association of Uganda. And I'm really glad to share this platform with you all as we discuss about the success of our subject. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Dumba. And straight away, I think I'm going to start off, like we said earlier, the rest of the ICT fraternity, we are going to have an open discussion after the panelists. And as a moderator for today, there are things that we want to align so well. I want to begin with Mr. Oriem Charles. Given that many learners missed essential ICT competences in UCE 2025, which is actually very true and a very great concern of all of the teachers that are on the call, Which practical evidence-based interventions at the classroom, school, and national levels would you recommend to prevent such gaps in the future? Mr. Oriam Charles, in your view, how should continuous assessment, hands-on practice, teacher professional development, resource allocation, and alignment between teaching and national examinations be strengthened to ensure that all learners consistently achieve the required competencies? I am asking that because when you look at the results and the concerns and the outcry of whatever has been discussed in the ICT Teachers Association forums, which we have, you realize that all the things that are coming up as a result are directed into this. So that is why we are asking, as Mr. Oriem Charles, many people missed which practical evidence-based interventions, either at school, class, or national level, do you recommend to avoid this in the future? Because we almost think there must be an alignment between teaching and national examinations. How can it be strengthened? Over to you, Mr. Charles.
Thank you, moderator, for the opportunity. You have requested me to go straight to strategies and what needs to be done. I think it is fair enough to highlight some of the errors also, if you could allow.
That is very okay, but we're mindful of time.
Yes. First of all, I would like to again appreciate the opportunity given to me at personal level to share my experience and knowledge with members in the profession. As I started in the beginning, I said, let us be open, willing to learn and unlearn, relearn certain things. First of all, ICT, the competencies that were supposed to be met, they are very clear according to the assessment document of the last year. As the guide, they were very clear. And most learners could not hit the required competence clearly. They were close there, but not bringing out what was really desired according to the competence-based assessment. So the issues, I think, came from item 1. Item 1, probably the learners could not exhibit this competence of explaining the ICT tools. Explaining the ICT tools required actually the necessary or relevant tool. But the learners actually, they have a lot of knowledge about ICT tools, but really picking the one which would solve the problem was an issue for many of them. And they end up putting things that might not work for that situation in the scenario. So that was one gap. They could not explain clearly the tools because there were bases of assessment for every item. And these bases of assessment are the one which was followed strictly during scoring. So as I said in that section A, the learners are supposed to describe relevant and sufficient numbers of ICT tools that would help solve that problem identified in the scenario. The description aspect did not come out well. Another thing that we saw is the learners, because last year's paper, the learners were supposed to maintain the ICT tools, and the basis of assessment for that part was to explain the management measure. Explaining the management measures became a problem for many learners. Rather, they were just stating them. People would tell you install antivirus without telling you, actually, they don't know even antivirus itself. They were expected to first understand antivirus program and then why must antivirus be installed and what would happen if that program was not installed to maintain that tool, be it a computer. So many learners face difficulties in bringing out those two bases of assessment. So there could be no way out but to follow the scoring principle. I don't want to believe that the scorers fail the learners. For them, they stick to the scoring principles, which is their job. So that belief that maybe intentionally learners were failed, it is not correct, but the standards were clear that learners could not meet. And since I might not talk a lot about those standards, since the time may not allow, probably for another day we can organize only for that issue, then we will come back. That was item 1. Now section B, the problem came in part 1, where the basis of assessments were clear. It is the learners explain either the causes or the consequence of either health issues, internet abuse, or system insecurity. Of course, last year we realized in the 2 item of item 2 and 3, health issues was there with eWest, and then security issues was also there with eWest. As we all know, eWest is constant in section B part 1. Now, explaining the causes also became a problem to learners, mostly those who attempted health, and very few learners attempted item 2, which was about security. And it looked like, since security is the last topic in our syllabus, most people, they are not teaching that thing, probably. And that was evidence in the number of learners who attempted that item, but very, very few. But then those who attempted that item very well excel so much better than the majority who attempted item 3, which was about health issues. Now, the health issues that the learners are expected to explain are those issues that are associated with ICT tools. When you are using the tools, then you get the health issues. The challenge also, which was there, is that the learners could just tell you a plain problem which is not associated to ICT usage. If you say back pain, even you right now, when you sit in your office, without even ICT tool, you'll get back pain. So there are some areas learners are supposed to align to ICT work using ICT tools. So that opened kind of answering, very, very common, they could not. And even if they could state those, other learners didn't know whether they could explain the causes or whether they should explain the consequences. Because it is either one of that. The item stated clearly, and we wanted the causes. So that part could not come out clearly. Mitigation was also supposed to be explained for every problem you've identified. Still explaining, but so many learners were just listing them, outlining and all that. And the scoring weights were also accommodative actually to those categories who were just outlining and mentioning points. And of course, it makes them fall at a lower weight where the majority were in item 2. So the issues came from item 1 and item 2. Those principles were not followed by the learners. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean now? You ask me, what can we now do at classroom level? Now, it look like we are still teaching the whole way. We are still teaching the whole way, and it looks like most people don't refer to syllabus book often the way they're supposed to refer to all the time. So we find ourselves in the class without proper learning objectives of the day. The learning objective of the day might not even be based on a particular issue you want learners to address. So the learning, it seems, in classrooms are not problem-based. So now, I think the teachers need to start, look at the topic, look at the area you want to cover, look at the problem you think when the learners finish that topic, they can easily use that knowledge or skill to solve that problem. Then you drop that scenario issues in that topic and make it as a driving force. Each and every time you teach, focus on, let the teaching and learning be problem-based at some point, because these learners are required to solve problems in scenario. So most of the learners seems to be seeing these scenarios only in exams, and then at teaching level, we don't actually expose them to this. And it becomes difficult for them to maneuver, because interpreting alone, it is a process that cannot be just done in 2 hours, 15 minutes. So when we are teaching, I think we now need to tailor our teaching to problem-based, based on real life scenario. Let's try to associate whatever skill and knowledge we are going to impart on learners to a practical problem in the real world, so that these learners keep knowing, okay, when I learn spreadsheets and there's a business with a business record problem, how can now spreadsheets come in at teaching level, so that when a scenario comes in a similar way, the learner would just pick the spreadsheets and apply in another situation, because it could still work there. So let us go deeper there into problem-driven teaching and learning. Then another thing we could do is project-based teaching, project-based learning, project. Now, after you are giving the learners the overview, the general skills, and teaching them throughout, at some point...
Sorry for intervention, Mr. Charles.
Yes.
Yes, but kindly try to be brief, because we are averagely using 10 minutes and we are 9 minutes away.
Okay. Project-based learning would also help us do that. When the topic is done, look at the project, that simple project that learners can do with the skill and the knowledge they have got in a particular topic or 2 or 3 topics, and expose them there so that they learn to investigate and relate these skills in classroom with real life problems. Then we have big classes in our schools, and it becomes a problem for many teachers to reach out to all these learners. I encourage our friends that teamwork is now very important. We really need to embrace. If a colleague maybe is handling something and you're around, you go and be in the room with him, be moving around while he's demonstrating. You're also fixing, because there are some learners who can't talk, but they have issues. They continue keeping quiet. They don't show up. They only show up with bad results. So we can easily fix this if we work together as a team. I also encourage our people to expose these learners to the competence-based assessment modalities earlier. Most time, learners start seeing serious items from mocks bodies, which sometimes might not even be standard items. Now, these items, when they meet them, they start panicking, they don't know what to do. Can we expose these students to the competence-based modalities earlier in terms of assessment items? Then, where possible, take them out to a specialized ICT environment so that they have a clear dimension of how ICTs are really helping. If the clubs are there, strengthen them, allow them to operate. The clubs can really help learners explore a lot of things on their own, so that when they meet a scenario that would help them to apply certain knowledge and skill that might not necessarily be in class, they would have seen it out through club activities. Then more importantly, when we are now teaching members, let's not run away from the syllabus book. Let the syllabus be our Bible. Make sure for every learning in a topic, all the learning outcomes there are achieved well and tested properly. Because most time I hear people very fast saying maybe we finish syllabus and all that. Probably we teachers are finishing the syllabus before learners. So let us focus more on learning outcome, because actually this assessment comes from there. They don't just come from the sky. They are all there. Then at national level, as I conclude, let us try to organize capacity building workshop. The way we have started today, we need to actually make it a routine so that we pick on a small matter and we continue talking over them. The next time we pick the other matter of assessment and we digest and help our friends. So these capacity building trainings, workshop, and all that should be organized at national level. And that I give it to the leadership of ITAU. However, most people are always limited by these cost-related issues. Many people are far and all that, then they couldn't navigate to the workshop centers and all that. If possible, at times, let's first look at these costs here, because if we are going to focus more on cost-related workshop, at time let's do others online where people can access, and then do others physically, so that those who could not really access the physical workshops, they can benefit from the online part. Then I think it is high time for ITAU to think of creating an initiative of developing standard items using the different item writers and all that, so that we really have a standardized way of assessing learners. The biggest problem we still have is item writing. So if you don't write item that could bring out competencies and skills and knowledge in the learners very well, then the learners will not really be well exposed. If possible, let's start developing ICT items centrally, and then we decentralize it to people to use them. And then, of course, organize more online ICT seminars for learners. I have seen Mr. Stephen or Joseph. He used to organize online and children attend. As the body here, let's also adopt that and start organizing them, mostly during holiday when the students are at home, so that they can pick up from there. For now, let me stop there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Charles Oriem. You have given us a clear picture of actually exactly what you think could be done to strengthen and ensure consistently achieving of the required competencies. From your communication, I've personally picked up a lot. I've also gotten to know that developing standard items could be another challenge where our learners may be exposed to intense assessment after mock results, among others. It is within the same spirit that I want teachers that we have on the call this evening, that in most cases we may not need to wait for online workshops. From the questions that I am seeing in the chat, it is a sign that people are asking questions like how many marks per exam, how many scores per paper, and things like that. I want to believe that sessions of this kind are supposed to give us a lot of knowledge so that we are able to proceed. But the only challenge is that, again, even when they are organized, still people don't normally do what? Show up. And again, when things don't go on well, it eventually comes back. In the same line of attending workshops, attending seminars, so that we increase learner preparedness, I cross over to Mr. Kakuru Bernard. Mr. Kakuru Bernard mobilized the ICT teachers nationwide through professional workshops. He facilitated the student-focused seminars, and his aim was to strengthen learner preparedness. Mr. Bernard, in light of the UCE 2025 performance, which key insights emerged from these engagements? Because you were at the forefront and probably you have key insights that you think emerged from the engagements, and how do they help us understand whether the performance challenges stem from classroom instruction, learner readiness, systematic constraints, or assessment structures. So what do you think are the key insights that emerged from these engagements? Mr. Kakuru Bernard, over to you, please. Kindly let us try to manage time, average the 10 minutes if it is maximum.
Okay, thank you, moderator, Mr. Eric Tom. Again, I'm Kakuru Bernard, yes, who has been in the forefront of these workshops, ensuring that we equip both learners and the teachers to improve the results. The truth to be told, the results have improved. The way we saw them in 2024, there is a big difference with the results of 2025. That is something that we need to commend. We need to appreciate that change has been made. And as we know, as teachers, teaching and learning is a progress. It is a step by step. We may not get all the A's that we need, but with time we shall be there. So let's have that courage and we continue doing our best. So getting back to the theme, analyzing ICT performance in UCE 2025, we all understand that we are dealing with the competence-based curriculum. And at the end of it all, we need to ensure that the graduate profile is followed very well. We need to have productive and collaborative learners. We need to ensure that our learners have that ability to critically think so that they analyze and solve societal issues. We need to ensure that the learners we are mentoring, they are responsible citizens. The learners we are mentoring are innovative and problem solvers, effective communicators, and above all, these ones are supposed to be continuous learners. Now, like they saw, they got B's, C's, some have A's, but learning is still continuing. Most of them are going to join A level. We need to see them as continuous learners. Coming back to the drawing board, we need to understand that the curriculum is practical and experience-based. All along the workshops we have held, the seminars we have held, you will realize that we still have a big gap. A few schools managed to set for us some scenario papers, you mark them and all that. You could realize that I don't know if some of the schools that I don't know some of the schools we have here, but sincerely speaking, you could mark, for example, scripts of a school, and you find that none of the candidates is even going 60% of the scores. May I have evidence of the schools that I marked? You mark paper 1 and paper 2, there is no candidate that can go 60% of the scores. So then they invite facilitators expecting to change everything from 40 to 100%, which is not possible, because we need to realize that we have to follow well the syllabus books, understanding the learning outcomes, the suggested learning activities, and the assessment strategies. Performance is made right away from senior 1. If an S1 learner is not well baked, the trend continues. And by the time they reach in senior 4, they are still struggling. They haven't grasped how the things should follow. So it becomes hard for a learner in senior 4 to drastically change to the A's that we are talking about. Performance should be from senior 1, progressing as we see hands-on experience, whether the topic is practical or theory, it should be practical based. We need to experience it. Then, when we are trying to assess learners, their responses, let us train learners to think critically so that they can solve those ideas. I mean, they can solve those societal problems, the problems presented in the scenario. And then when we are scoring them, let us ensure that their responses are of high order. The high order thinking should be demonstrated in the learner's response. You have heard from our colleague, Mr. William Charles, telling you that when learners are describing like the ICT tools, the responses are sketchy. They are not detailed enough. Whether paragraphs or tables, still the responses are sketchy, not well explained. When it comes to practicals, learners have to demonstrate both basic and advanced skills in their work. We have seen in these workshops, Mr. Chams, we have been moving together everywhere. You have seen that even in workshops, most teachers are still struggling with the curriculum. You are handling a practical session, but teachers are behaving like S1 students. We have seen this happening. So the curriculum is not yet with us. We need to adopt all the learning outcomes, the suggested learning activities, and teach the CBC way. Let's see, shift from knowledge-based the knowledge-based curriculum to the competence-based curriculum. This habit of looking for notes now and again, let us follow properly the syllabus books and teach the way the syllabus is telling you. If there are group activities, let learners be in groups, let them learn, let them have that experience between one another, not us giving them now and again. Continue to embrace the workshops and embrace the seminars. Mr. Tom, can you allow me share screen?
Yes, it's okay, but you have
Briefly.
averagely 3 minutes
Yeah, it's okay.
briefly.
Yes,
Okay,
allow me
please.
share. Okay. Yes. Is it clear? Is it seen there?
Yes, you can proceed. You are good.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
So here, whenever we reach in the syllabus books, let us ensure that we make the learners understand the competence that we expect them at the end of that very topic, what we need, what they should have at the back of their mind. If you are handling a certain learning outcome, make sure that you do as per the syllabus. Put the learners in those groups and ensure that you achieve all these suggested learning activities. Also employ the sample assessment strategies. We need to ensure that we do our best when it comes to handling the CBC lessons up to the assessment. More to that, I continue to encourage the teachers to ensure that when we are giving learners these theory test items, let them not rush. They have the 2 hours and 15 minutes, meaning that they have to write in depth. They explain things the way they are supposed to be explained, not just summarizing. A paper is not, they are not supposed to summarize, but to have the gist in the paper as they are writing. Then let learners understand the elements of construct very well at the back of their mind. If it is paper one, let them know the elements of constructs very well, because once they understand them very well, they are supposed to approach any item that comes at their site, because they understand what these elements of construct are all about. Encourage learners to read the scenarios carefully. They should have a clear understanding of the context, including the characters involved, the setting, and all that. We need to ensure that we supervise the practical sessions very well. Let us understand our learners very well, their weaknesses in every application, and see how best we can help them. Because I'm sure when the papers are done, we normally say the papers were simple. They are simple to you as a teacher. But I tell you, even us when we go for marking, we sit for these papers and we don't score very well. So even you, when you sit for that paper, you will know that the paper really has its challenge and it can challenge you. So let us not say papers are simple, but also mind about how these papers are scored, the criteria, the standards, and all that. So let us continue to ensure that learners understand the elements of construct, and in paper 2, supervise the practicals very well and ensure that learners understand each application and how best they can manipulate data. And when it comes to the part of designing a website, let us also stop using like publish applications, because some elements, they are not coming out well as they are needed. The learners will use publish of 2007, most elements are not there and they miss out. So it is about us, the teachers. How are we instructing our learners? How are we facilitating them? It still comes back to our teaching and learning. So I think we shall continue to share more. My 10 minutes are over. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kakuru Bernard. Yes, Mr. Kakuru is one of the key mobilizers of the workshops and the seminars that are normally arranged in an arrangement to see that teachers become better together with their students. Thank you very much for your submission. Now, I want to. Mr. Dumba happens to be the national coordinator of the ICT Teachers Association of Uganda. I strongly believe that Mr. Dumba is in the right position to respond to a number of concerns that affect ICT teachers, being a national coordinator and being a committee member and founder of ITAU for some good time. Mr. Dumba Stephen, from your position as national coordinator and considering concerns about marking standards and do you believe the UCE was significantly affected at the assessment level? In other words, do you think it was at the point of assessment that decisions probably changed and the performance was affected? Okay, if that is it, which specific aspects of the marking or moderation process require review to ensure fairness and credibility? Why are we talking about fairness and credibility? It is because from the conversations that teachers have had before, there are a lot of concerns where people believe that UNEB or probably any other concerned body is probably very unfair and they feel their efforts were not worth it. Over to you, Mr. Dumba Stephen.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sevaramu. Am I clear enough?
Yes, you are okay.
Okay, thank you. Once again, I am Dumba Stephen, the National Coordinator of the ICT Teachers Association of Uganda. I'm pleased to hear from Charles. I've heard from Kuru, and you all. Thank you so much for your submissions, and I'm really grateful for your insights. I wouldn't say I'm disappointed, but I feel touched on how this conversation is going so far. And to me, I have always believed and I've always been scared of the cult-like status that we are, what are we doing? Are we grooming it? No, we found this cult-like status of the assessment body there, and we are helping it flourish. Sometimes I feel disturbed when speaker after speaker is speaking against the failure of the teachers to do this, to do that. Whatever we are telling the teachers to do today, we have told them these things over and over again. And here we are. It is a national outcry that our subject wasn't done properly. For example, you tell me that the kids are not explaining their concepts well. So how are they explaining it in chemistry? How are they, how are they doing it in physics and biology and math? And here we are saying that the kids are simply outlining. So what were they doing the other subjects? Is it in ICT where they start, outlining maybe not to the standard that the assessment body wants? I really feel that if we are to look at this problem, we have to look now deeper. We have to get out of the box. We have to get out of the box where we are thinking. People, believe me, whether you believe it or not, but I know someday you will know that we are building a culture that we as teachers or as an association are supposed to fight. Mr. Kakuru, tomorrow you're going to be the head of this assessment body. I want to tell you the way this assessment body is behaving right now is the very way you are going to behave. You yourself, we shall become enemies. You can't tell me that all the learners, in the majority of the schools that I have seen, students are scoring C. Mr. Moderator, we as teachers know that
yes,
in some of our classes, you have a student who has not been attending lessons for one reason or another, for genuine reasons. We have students who have been sick for 2 years. Mr. Moderator, you yourself, you have a learner you have helped me with. You helped me with this learner for quite some time. She was not in class. And then how would you feel if this learner scored who has not been attending lessons? This person scores a C, and then you find a student like Mr. Ogwal's student also scoring a C. For those who don't know, Mr. Ogwal has a website called ogwalinsights.org. This website was gifted to him by his learners. These learners are too good if they are to sit for a web design paper with us, the teachers. Personally, they would beat me. They know CSS, HTML, JavaScript. They made a very good website that I cannot do from scratch unless I use WordPress. Now, this learner here has a C. And the other joking learner also has a C. So where does the fairness come from? Where does the credibility come from? And then the other thing is, the teachers are on the other side of the teachers are on the other side of the wall. Everyone is blaming them. The administrator is blaming the teachers. For us as leaders in the association, we are blaming the teachers. The students are blaming the teachers. The parents are blaming the teachers, and no one is coming out to blame the other factors in the puzzle. I really don't believe in this. Who scrutinizes this assessment body? Who looks at them? Who looks at their mistakes? Look at their report, the report of 2024. A whole assessment body says teachers should introduce software like Canvas to the learners. Canvas and Canva are two different things totally. A whole assessor is saying Canvas. That is a mistake in IT. A big mistake and a factual mistake. Someone is saying that they should be introduced to tools like WordPress, and writes the word W-O-R-D, and then press with a space. This is a small indication that this teacher or this person who is assessing has also their deficiencies like we all have. We have our deficiencies. The schools have their deficiencies. The learners have their deficiencies, but we are blaming and we are putting all the blame on the teachers. I really feel pained. How does UNEB identify the A material? I'll take you to maybe web design. I really know that in web design, if we are to check for, if you gave an industry practitioner to assess the web design number of UNEB, you'd get a few people who would be what we call, UNEB calls them exceptional. Those who get A. Some few. But I don't want you to tell me that a person who does a website so well, like Mr. Gwal's student, Mr. Gwal, sorry for putting you in this mess, who does it so well, can fail to do a Microsoft Word number, that item one, the one thing. You cannot tell me that that very person who explained things so well in biology, how food moves from what the oesophagus, I don't know those things up to where, is now failing to talk about a mouse and a laptop and a computer and a printer, how to put them together to make an internet cafe for a secretarial bureau. UNED is telling us in their report, the other report of last year, that we should Simanya give our what? Our learners a variety of items. Look at their number one of 2024 and look at their number one of 2025. Where is the variety? They are all talking about a head teacher. So now you're telling us to do variety. Then you yourself, you're failing to do the variety. 2024 was paper one, item one, head teacher. That is 2024. 2025, paper one, item one, still head teacher. Where is the variety that they are telling us to do? Where is the, what do I call it? Why don't they practice what they preach? You see, it is difficult to assess in a field where I don't have a competence. That is a fact. How will I assess a person in maybe flying an aeroplane when I myself, I even don't know? But when I feel, I hear the, sorry for this. So I'm also disturbed by their passive advice, expose learners to more scenario-based items. So, I don't know, I can shout and shout about this assessment, but the truth is I am not happy when speaker after speaker is talking against the teacher, the one who wakes up at 5 to prepare lesson material. The one who comes to the group and asks for lesson material and we bash them, make your own every day. And bambi, they are resilient. You bash them today, they come back tomorrow. And they do everything. Some go on the night bus just to attend Mr. Hakuru's workshop. Some ask you in the inbox, here, help me with this, WordPress is doing this. Yes, I know they have their failings. We have our failings, but who is there to check the assessment body? When they are even shifting goalposts, they themselves, they come and say, this number has been approached by, attempted so well by these people. I think we should do this and yeah, that tweaking of what? To tweaking of assessment. Supposing I have 10 nursery kids and all I want them is to identify between a red block and a blue block. If all these 10 kids came and identified those blocks correctly, do I now start changing the grading? That no, the one who came first, I'll give them a 3, and the one who came last, I'll give them a 1. We should, and I ask Mr. President that please contact whoever is there. Some background noise. Mr. President should lead a team, reach out to this body and tell them we are watching. Please help us, guide us. One of the principles of competence-based assessment is that the learner, not only the learner, even me, the teacher, I have to know what you are going to assess. I really have to know what are you going to assess me on. Supposing, let us go to, okay, let me give a crude example. You are in a salon and you are assessing 10 learners. And you're telling them, I want you to plait this hair. I want it to be strong, as in a decision to be loose, so that it can fit in that on that head for for maybe a week or a month. Then all of a sudden you find one who has put some colors in the hair. Then you start saying, because this one put colors, this one is very creative. I want you to define for me what you call creative. In a website, even you who doesn't even know how to write the word WordPress, you're telling me to be creative. How are you going to see my creativity when even the spelling is failing you? So, Mr. Moderator, for me, I have listened to what the speakers, the panelists have shared. I truly understand their pain. I know they are doing their work. but there is some smell somewhere that we should also find out where is that stench coming from. If we don't do that, we are going to remain in circles. 1 year, they perform well. The next year, they perform badly. Then we come here and start talking good English. It is time for this English to stop and let work begin. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Dumba. Actually, when you listen to Mr. Dumba, I realize your statements so just showing how much you care. I think from the comment section and the nature of how comments are coming up, I have a feeling that you are speaking on behalf of a number of people that feel maybe their voices have not been heard. And anyway, it is the role of the national coordinator. These problems are painful, but I think they show us where to begin fixing, where to start from. I want to believe that sessions of this kind are, of course, a learning session for each one of us, but also urge the teachers, because we cannot have a storm about a number of things, especially if we are not united. I want to preach the gospel of unity when it comes to ICT, because it means that even somebody who had their own knowledge and was having it from a different, maybe discreet and safe place, was eventually let down by the results. Because if you look at the comment section, you are seeing a number of concerns. Somebody tells you, I had a student who was sick throughout, but came back and got a C. And the same that even these learners who were very competent were able to get. So I want to believe that we need to look at both sides of whatever is happening, because initially, from the speakers that we had and the image that we have, we may realize that even if you do continuous assessment and then the goalposts change at the final minute, we may not be able to be very good at this. We'll pass on and cross over to Mr. Luchamuzi Ronald, our president. I am seeing hands up, but like I said earlier, we are going to have an engagement after the panelists. Feel free to write in the chat. We are going to do a number of concerns once in a while, but of course, the advantage of writing in a chat is that before you write your question, you could realize that somebody explained it better than you. So it becomes a little easy to scrutinize and know these were repeated. Mr. Luchamuzi, over to you. As the president of our association, you have overseen initiatives to support ICT teaching nationwide, and that is something we are very grateful for and appreciate a lot. We have seen you in teacher workshops and student seminars where you have given a lot of knowledge and guided on a number of concerns. Mr. Luchamuzi, in light of the UCE results, which show that many learners missed key competencies, how do you assess the role of facilitators, the challenges they face, and the systematic factors affecting performance? Because I was in one of the groups and somebody was also saying, it means the facilitators misguided our learners. That's why our learners are failing. But again, these facilitators also have a role to play and they face challenges as well. Additionally, what strategic action is the association taking to strengthen teaching, to improve classroom presentations, and to ensure that all these learners acquire required competencies moving forward? Thank you very much. Over to you, Mr. Luchamuzi.
Okay, thank you, moderator. And thank you for this time. To start with, I would like to thank the previous panelists, Mr. Dumba, Mr. Kakula, and Charles, for their comprehensive submissions about this issue. First of all, let me start with the issue of facilitators. I would like to assure everyone, all the teachers, that what you did was right. The effort you did, to me, was the right effort. The guidance you gave was the right guidance to give the candidacy. So people should not take facilitators in isolation, because we are seeing where, even where there may be someone who can call the chief, the assistant chief, where they were invited to be facilitators, and the results are the same. and where some of these teach from and where they are stationed from, the results are the same. They may not be having A's as without. You are looking at a school like Chitende from Mulindwa is not having an A, one of the best schools in Uganda. So this one calls for some patience and good analysis. So to me, as someone who has moved the entire country doing thesis and talking to teachers, I don't try to limit that one. The background noise. Mr. Sevalamulu, identify the person and mute.